Hi there. Welcome back to my Obsidian Mirror podcast. My name is Cynthia, and this is going to be a session for the new moon total eclipse in Aries. This will be, like always, a scrying session report and then some cards that I'll pull at the end in real time to kind of tie the messages we're reading together for us. And this was a very powerful session and mirror gaze that I just did. It was one of the most vivid I've done, and so I feel really honored that I got to see it, and very honored to be here and privileged to get to do this work on this little podcast in my corner of the world. So I didn't have, like I had been having in previous sessions, preliminary kind of sight or like mind's eye remote viewing type imagery come to me ahead of this gaze. I worked today. I saw some clients for my therapy practice, and I also had some things to take care of this morning. So it may have just been because I was distracted. But I did a lot of routine ahead and ritual ahead of the scrying session to get me in the right place this evening to do this. And the eclipse takes place tomorrow in linear time. And so the first vision that came through was of a raven flying overhead. And if you watch ravens fly overhead in wooded and rural areas, they'll have their flight paths that they go on. They'll follow roads looking for carrion and looking for other things, and probably just keeping an eye on people as well. And I just did a hike the other day, and a raven flew over me quite a few times in this way, where they'll turn their head back and forth and they're kind of looking at all angles from up above, right? So that was a very striking and appropriate first vision to have, a black raven through the obsidian mirror. That's very in keeping with the dark pole, right? So really beautiful visitor right off the bat. And then through his body came like a little green orb that was kind of sparkling, and there was some sparkling green imagery in the last scrying session as well. So there's something to do with sparkling green, and in that session it was very nature-based, and this session is very similar. There's some nature-based imagery circling back around at the end of this. After that little sparkling orb kind of moved through the body of the raven, then all of a sudden it transitioned into various types of masks. First from Mask, the movie, that was a movie that was really big in my childhood and one I watched many times as a child over and over. But it didn't stay there. It went into masks as an ancient form of human practice, and whether that's for ceremony or for theater or for illusion, trying to fit in, right? Masks are an ancient concept in human endeavor. And so the mask as a concept kind of started coming in rapid succession, like from the movie Mask with Eric Stoltz, which was, I think, just to help me understand that mask was the theme from my own personal frame of reference before showing me ancient masks, and then masks that are maybe unseen but that we wear in social settings, right? Things like of this nature. Then it moved away from the mask. The mask and the nose of the mask, of the last human form mask I saw, became one of those hinge frames that is like a desk frame for you to prop a photo in, and it can be closed and laid down flat, or it can be propped up and opened on a hinge, and then you can prop a photo in it. And it was showing me the hinge frame and a photo in it, but I was looking at the frame from the back. And so it just kept showing me that for quite a while without really any other type of feeling to go with it. Just this image of looking from behind this hinged frame for this picture. And then finally, really the only thing that came of that was right as that image went away, it said something about, you don't see the picture, that's in this frame because you're looking at it from the backside, but you accept and you know that there's a picture in the frame because you have a history of understanding around these items to understand that that's what they do is hold images. So that was an interesting little message that came in and out in an instant after staring at the back of that frame for a while. Then here's where things kind of got interesting and where this mirror gaze has been one of the most vivid for me because it actually showed me moving pictures instead of floating images, moving closer or further away in depth of field, like when you're focusing a camera. This actually was showing me now a moving picture, like I was looking into a scene. And it was showing me a fisherman at sea on a boat. And it was really emphasizing that he was a fisherman based on the kind of slickers that you used to see maritime fisher people maybe still wearing. But to me, I associate these slickers with kind of old-timey fishermen with the slicker hat and the boots like Paddington Bear. Almost. Again, that's like a childhood reference for me. I didn't grow up around ships, so I don't necessarily have the slicker reference in the beginning until later. But this fisherman on these stormy seas kept being I kept being shown this fisherman from the back and that he was working and he was keeping his balance on a ship. He was on a ship's deck. And finally, it showed me what he was doing was pulling in nets. So he was a fisherman pulling in nets on the ship. And it kept showing me that he's pulling in these nets, working against the elements because it's raining hard against him and the sea is tossing him about, but he's pulling in the nets of his catch. And then the very biblical phrase, I will make you fishers of men, came through. So that was very strong. And we've had a lot of oceanic themes come through in these gazes leading up to this one. So there's several going back, biblical themes included, including Jonah. So I'm not somebody that shies away from Christian imagery. So then there was that very much, I will make you fishers of men. And it kept showing me this hardworking fisherman pulling in his nets. Then all of a sudden it showed me a major shift on the globe. It's like it panned out away from that man fishing in a boat. And it showed me Indian people on the lower Columbia River, which is where I live. It's also known as the Nichiwana River. I live in Chinook country, and there are many bands of Chinookan Indians still living. People sometimes refer to Native people as if they are extinct, and that's not the case. The Chinook tribe is not a federally recognized tribe, but they have been federally recognized and currently fight for federal recognition. And seining is a kind of fishing that Columbia River Native people have employed in terms of hauling in salmon and other catches. And so seining is a type of net fishing. I'm not going to go too deeply into describing what seining is, but you should look it up because it's a very ancient mariner practice. It's one that is one of the most ancient forms of human working within hunter-gatherer fishing, right, is the ability to seine, building nets and learning how to use these nets to catch fish in groups. It's spelled Seining. And what I was very specifically shown were indigenous people on the lower Columbia River seining. And then also there was a large Scandinavian population on the lower Columbia River that treated this area very much like an industrial commodity and not in a harmonious way, but they also practice seining. Seining has a long ancient tradition where I live from the first people here and then from the settler colonial people that came after. There's a long history of seining in the Mediterranean as well. So it's just super fascinating that seining and the ocean and fishing keeps coming up. Oceanic realms and oceanic depths have been huge in almost every single one of my mirror gazes. And it was really beautiful. The pulsing of this, watching this man fish with the current and being in fluid and harmony on the waves, moving to pull in his nets, and then showing people on a shore doing seining historically, like ancient. I was just really, really beautiful. I felt really privileged. And then poof, I just got pushed out of the gaze, and that was the end. So it was quite different than some other gazes, and appropriate, I think, for the eclipse, that something really powerful come through and different to kind of catch our attention in a way. And now I'm just going to pull a few cards for us to tie this reading together. And I'll wish you a good total eclipse, safety and abundant, and restabilizing after maybe some chaos. Sometimes eclipse energy is a little much and we need help with it. So just some tying it together messages from this Marseille tarot deck. The Marseille deck is one of the oldest tarot decks in existence. There's a great video, I'll try to link it here on in the community page, about the history of the Marseille deck, and it's linked to Botticelli and some other, it's kind of an interesting history there. Because the Marseille deck actually does not have origins in Marseille. It's from Italy, but I think its first printing took place in Marseille, not in Italy, even though it was created in Italy, something to that effect. So tying this gaze together from the Marseille. The Knight of Pentacles, the King of Wands, and the Moon. So this is pretty powerful imagery. To me, it speaks a little bit. The moon is a very water-based calendar. Lunar, as we all know, the moon controls the tides of the ocean. And this Knight of Wands and this this King of Wands and this Knight of Coins speak to me about the people fishing that I saw in that gaze. So this may have something to do with the ocean, with people and life at the sea, and life-giving, abundant waters, living waters, right? This is coming through really strongly. And our relationship to the waters. The Knight, the King of Clubs, is a fire sign. He's the King of Wands. So fire and water. The Knight of Pentacles is a little bit less potent of an energy than the other two cards, but he's a very sturdy, solid, grounding presence here, along with this King of Wands and lunar energy that I think are representing the figures that I saw in the gaze. So I'm just going to pull a couple more cards here. Look for what is being left out. What is the missing element? So there's something to do with fishing and ocean and depth and water element, and you know, I'm somebody that is concerned for this health of the planet, so that might have messaging here for you through this eclipse. What is the missing element in our world? I don't know, right? What else? How does your inner warrior perceive surrender? So that Knight of Pentacles is a warrior. A King of Wands is a warrior. But they've surrendered to the tides here, these lunar tides. Just like in the image that I was seeing. They're working in harmony with the ocean. They're not conquering it. They're working with the currents to pull in their nets. What's an animal spirit? Raven came through right at the beginning. I'm going to end this on an animal card. An animal spirit that wants to come through or be mentioned or be honored here. Lion. Gosh, that is beautiful. Leadership, nobility, fearlessness, honor, virtue, intrepidity, confidence, courage, personality, power, serenity, and patience. So just like those fishermen, I will make you fishers of men. Like, this is a very kingly, divine masculine, but the ocean is feminine. It is the realm of the water, which is 70% of our planet. The planet is often considered a feminine energy. So this is like a really harmonious fire meets water, masculine meets feminine in this really powerful A lion is a royal symbol in many cultures that have an awareness of a lion. It's a symbol of regality. So I'm going to leave that there. This is a really beautiful, I mean, the lion, gosh, sorry, I just have to say one more thing. The lion is a beautiful animal to come through a total solar eclipse reading in a fire sign. A lion is a symbol of fire, right? In the zodiac. He's a symbol of the sun. So I thank you so much. I hope that you clear away whatever is meant to be cleared from your life on this total solar eclipse, and that you're ready to embrace the new fires coming in and that are going to take us into the future. I'm sending my love, and take good care.